Baker.
Still it.
Flush that shit.
Welcome in, welcome home, Below the Rim podcast. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Jamal. What a beautiful edit, you know what I'm saying?
Round two.
There it is. Welcome in, y'all. We got some special guests tonight. Daniel Falloon, my buddy from kindergarten. He's on the pod tonight. How you doing, sir?
Going on, guys? How you doing?
Very good. We got Jazz Donda back on the program.
Not in a car. Not in a car.
And she has her Bianchi bike that
Yes,
she is.
that's my beauty.
For sure, let me know. She paid. She got a discount on her bike, so it's
Secondhand.
we're gonna get some background on that for any bike enthusiasts. And Drew and Avery are on the pod. Jamal's back on the pod from Jamaica. What's going on, fellas? Clue us in.
How's Jamaica, Jamal?
The JJs. No, didn't you go to Jamaica like not too long ago?
Yeah, I was there literally like 2-3 weeks before you went, probably.
Okay, hold that thought. I just want to introduce a guest. Hold on 1 minute.
Hey, Poyle, Ryan.
Better late than never.
Hey, you better be on the pod tonight with Mr. Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets NFL draft this Thursday. Man, we needed you. Oh my God, I was like nervous. I was like sweating. Hey, there it is. So we're gonna have a fun pod tonight, and we'll dive right in. We'll start with the NFL draft because we got some cool NBA sequences tonight and an NHL update because I know the Leafs are going crazy right now. Drew, real quick, just a quick NHL update, real quick.
We are right now awaiting overtime. The Leafs are in Tampa tonight. They were down 3-0. Somehow it is now 4-4, and we're about to hit overtime. We're just waiting for it to start up, brother.
Wow. So keep us like up to date, like minute to minute, second to second.
One eye on the screen.
There we go. So we're gonna dive right in with the NFL draft this Thursday. Ryan, just give us a overview. I know people are saying was it Richardson? Richardson is gonna be going number 2 to the Texans. That might be a prospect. What are your thoughts, real quick, on the NFL draft?
NFL draft hope is in the air, Jordan. For those teams that are never good every single year, this is their Super Bowl. So just really excited for this week. And Anthony Richardson number 2 wouldn't be a shock to me. I don't think that they're going to go with Will Levis. It seems like CJ Stroud's stock is starting to plummet. Bryce Young appears to be unanimous number 1. So AR-15 in Indianapolis. I mean, Jim Irsay likes the firepower, likes the flash. I could absolutely see him pulling the trigger on that one.
Now, why is CJ Stroud? Why is his rating going down? Why is that happening in drafts all of a sudden, where people that were prospected to go high are dropping all of a sudden?
This is something that seems to be a common theme each year now. You think back to the days of Laramie Tunsil. He's the highly touted, one of the highest paid tackles in the league now. He plummeted on draft night because he got a picture surfaced of him taking a hit of a bong with a gas mask on, surfaced like a couple days before the draft, and he fell. But not similar to that, CJ Stroud, he has everything on paper. He looks really good, but for some reason, the GMs and the whispers around him is that his stock just isn't as high. He's starting to cool off. So I think they're making a big dumb decision to not take him at number 2. I think Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are clearly the most talented quarterbacks in this draft. But yeah, nobody really knows. I haven't seen a picture of a gas mask bong anywhere. So we'll see what the news comes out come draft day.
Wow, Ryan, thank you so much. We're gonna keep it moving because there's a lot to cover tonight. Jamal, MMA update. What are your thoughts about the Izzy fight? We didn't get it while you were away. I gave you maybe about 47 shout outs. But yeah, what was your quick take on the Izzy fight over the weekend?
I thought, man, that's so old news. I need to talk about the
Wow.
Davis.
Wow,
That's the
there
one.
it is. Hey, right, you said you were at the fight. There it is. All right, there you go.
All right, let's dive in. I was watching the fight, first of all, and I do watch Tank Davis and I do watch Ryan Garcia. I thought it was going to be a pretty good battle between the two. And then I had to really ask myself, I know Ryan Garcia, he used to date a influencer. And, after they started dating, I know it sounds funny, he started to he didn't really seem like a boxer, and I took that into account when I was thinking about who would actually win. Tank Davis, he had a lot to prove, and I think he's an overall better fighter. I thought he was a little bit slower than Ryan, but the fight clearly showed us that he's probably faster than Ryan. There's several fights, there's several punches that Ryan was throwing, and Tank Davis didn't even flinch. He had the good like body placement. He was more accurate than Ryan. He was more methodical. Ryan was showing like signs of like fatigue early. And then here's the interesting thing: people believe that Tank had a mole in Ryan's camp.
The mole.
One of the interviews, Tank said himself, Ryan told him with his own words, like what his weakness was.
Wow.
Did you see, there was like I saw today, there was like an Asian guy that came out and said in sparring, he apologized for hurting Garcia. He said he was his sparring partner, and he's trying to say he injured him in sparring.
I heard that.
And then I heard that, and then Tank hit the same spot, right? Supposedly.
Right.
Yeah. So
I have
like,
a question. Are the injuries to people's brains while they're fighting with MMA like still a thing? Do they have insurance for that? Like getting a concussion while fighting, and you can only get so many concussions, right?
and then you got to ask, how many are their doctors allowing? You know, like I'm pretty sure they're probably 2 concussions away, and the fighter's like, hey, just let me do this fight.
And that's a big thing in football as well.
Yeah.
That's the CTE, and that was what I was saying with the Antonio Brown, Vontez Burfict hit. You know, that was what they said caused the whole thing with Antonio Brown, is that hit is after that is he went off his rocker a little bit. So yeah, no, Jazz, it's definitely something.
Like if you look at Mike Tyson, when he kind of stutters still, and he talks about having all these kinds of injuries all over his body, like
same with
arthritis
Muhammad
is
Ali.
real. Arthritis
Mike
is
Tyson.
real.
Head injuries. Quick update here. Steven Stamkos, captain of Tampa Bay, just took a slap shot right off the face of our goalie, Sergei Samsonov, and knocked his helmet flying. Sergei's staying in the game here, boys. He's still going. Yeah. It's about 2 minutes into the first overtime. It's still tied, obviously.
Love to hear it. This is, I mean, I'm feeling the energy right now, man. And I'm what I'm doing right now is having like an overall update with every sport, and then we're gonna dive right in.
Actually,
Wait,
hockey fact. The guy recently died. He made it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. The reason why they have helmets now is because an ice skate right into his face and split his leg.
I remember that.
That was the Canadian Heritage commercial. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jamal?
So what was everyone's pick? Who was going for Ryan? Because in the chat I heard a lot of Ryan fans. So
I admit, I looked at.
I think I was just going to Tank. I was going for Gervonta Davis.
Who Tank was going to take it the whole time.
Yeah. That video with Tank and Denzel when they were at the Lakers game was so dope. It was like Denzel was giving him his love, and like Gervonta was like just so like in awe, but he was still holding it and receiving it. You know, it was dope.
Yeah, I had Gervonta just because fucking everybody in the hip hop world had him, and I'm not a huge boxing guy, but from what I know of both of them, I knew that they're both undefeated at the point. But just from their sizes, like Gervonta literally looks like a tank. Like he's one of the few people that their nicknames actually fit.
Yeah.
But wasn't
he looks like a tank, that guy.
2 years? Wasn't Ryan calling for this fight for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't he?
And the thing is, I think classic Rocky movie. Ryan was put up against a lot of
We're going on the power play.
Power play?
We're gonna get a power play.
There it is, man.
I think Tank has been challenged more than Ryan. So I mean, they're both top caliber boxers, but Tank has been challenged, and I think Ryan personally has been giving a lot of easier fights. And this is just my opinion personally, but Tank's a beast, and we see it.
I mean that person, like that first
knockdown
came out.
Question.
But the thing is, he was doing it. Like he was. Go ahead.
Do the Leafs have to win tonight to make it to the playoffs?
They're already in the playoffs.
Oh, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
we're gonna get that live Andrew Hinkson reaction to this. This is what I like so much about it.
This is first round here, right? So right now the Leafs are up 2-1 in the series. If we win tonight, we have a chance to come back home to Toronto to wrap it up. So this is a pretty big game here. Tampa Bay is in a must-win situation right now.
And Tampa was the favorite, or who was the favorite going in?
You could say the Leafs were probably the betting favorites in Vegas, but we haven't won a round in 20 years, boys. So how can you ever be the favorite?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It's true.
What are your thoughts about the NBA world, real quick, man? Daniel, Avery, what are your thoughts on the NBA world? A lot of
Getting spicy.
lot of stuff going on, man. It's
Spicy.
getting hot.
My boy Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. All right, so Daniel Falloon and I just want to give everyone a quick update. So Daniel and I, we went to kindergarten together. All right, so it was at Humber College, and we grew up. We used to get lost in school, and we used to run around the parking lot at 4 years old, and our moms would have to come finding us. Right, so we have amazing stories. We'll save those, but
Yeah.
what Daniel, the other day you said, and by the way, he refs basketball games, and his father's a very highly recruited ref as well, Mike. So we want to get into that a little bit as well. But first off, you gave me a take on Dylan Brooks and why he plays the way he does. A lot of people don't know the specifics of it, but please break that down. He's not only from Mississauga, but what part of Toronto, Botman, is he from?
It's
over. Oh,
my man Dylan Brooks, probably Draymond Green 2.0, the most hated man in the NBA right now. He went to my former high school, Father Henry Carr, out of Rexdale.
Would you
Rexdale,
say that
So,
school
Toronto area.
that area gave him that kind of backbone a little bit?
I like Jaden Finch, certain areas that, like tougher areas, to grow up in, of course. Just the nature of the ball was in the area and the way we were coached and just the grittiness of just growing up in that area and the style of basketball. I think, it resonates, and it stays with you as a player.
Dylan Brooks grew up in Jaden Finch.
I don't know where Dylan Brooks grew up, to be honest. I really don't. But just the fact that he went to my high school, I know our style of basketball, full court, trap, pick up man to man,
and also just grimy, like getting under people's skins, like that's what you're missing from this right now. You guys got under guys' skins. That's how you guys.
Yeah, that's what we were known for, So it's a lot of passion.
Yeah.
Or more like it, nobody ever wanted to go up against any Rexdale team. Like whether you're from Naki or Henry Carr, people knew that you play a game against us.
Classic.
They actually built a police station around the corner after a while.
Yeah, right beside North Albion, and
I went to North Albion. I went to Naki.
Yeah. We know.
Intimidating.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That was West End times before we moved to Scarborough. Jamal.
Well, actually, Naki got a football team years later because they wanted to give boys some discipline and like something to channel their energy into, because basketball wasn't just enough. So everyone pitched in. I don't know if you remember Mr. Carter from Smithfield, but Mr. Carter and a couple of the teachers got together and got a football team started.
Wow.
I know Mr. from Naki.
Yeah, that's incredible. Avery, Ryan, what are your thoughts on the NBA world right now? And Dylan Brooks, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard missing game 4, or was it game 3? Thoughts?
Ryan, go.
I think the that Kawhi is the face of load management. It's been said on social media this week. That guy, I mean, come on. What really is his injury right now? It's playoff time, and he's treating it like it's game 60. I just don't get it out of him. But that Heat finish right there was fantastic. Jimmy Butler putting the Heat up 3-1. Avery, I know you're watching that.
Jimmy was killing it tonight. Fucking, what did he finish with? I think 55. Literally looked like a beast out there. It was probably the best I've seen Jimmy play in his entire life.
I saw an article recently stating that Jimmy Butler was one of the overrated players in the NBA.
It's because during the season, Jimmy Butler chilled. That's his thing. He likes to get other people involved. He likes to he cares about the wins. I don't think Jimmy Butler's really like a stat chaser or somebody who's like every game being like, I need to drop 30 on you type of guy.
Yeah. Real veterans, real good players. They come out to really shine when it's playoff time.
No doubt. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing.
No.
It says freeze a lot on your name. You noticed that, right?
Yeah, no. I made it that way.
I don't know if you guys can feel my phone vibrating, but the Leafs ended the game.
And they won.
The Leafs won it.
There we go. There we go.
A goal from a guy.
And everyone here is from Toronto.
All season, but
there we go.
Well, not Ryan. Ryan's from Cleveland.
But I'm pulling for Toronto. You guys have won a series in so long. I want it to be brought home.
I bet you. You know what's crazy? Yo, he's from Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. Cleveland rocks. There we go. Hey, so we Jamal and I we used to go to LA a lot. Our dad used to bring us to LA and all that stuff, and we went to see this live taping of a show. Well, I don't know what show, but one of the people in the crowd, they were from like Cleveland or something, and they were like Ohio or Cleveland. So I'm like, what? Remember? Yeah, I don't know. I'm butchering the story. So thoughts, man. What do we want to talk about? Like, there's so many things to talk about. People are liking the pod. I'm gonna take a back seat. I'm gonna be the analytics guy today. So anything you guys are doing, I'm going to have the information ready to go, and I'm going to feed you the information. Or did we want to go right into Avery's new segment?
I want to hear Drew's take on. I would just want to hear how they won and everything. Not often that we're filming during a live overtime playoff game.
It's true.
There's as far as I'm concerned, like when it comes to a single sporting event, it's really hard to top overtime hockey if it's a team you actually give a shit about. And when it goes to sudden death overtime. But when you add in the fact that we were down 3-0 on the road, like in hockey, usually that's like done, game over, your night is done. But
100%.
I hung in there, right? I was telling these guys, like, listen, I'm going to log on to the pod as soon as it hits 10, depending on the score. Right when I was going to log on, the Leafs made it 4-2, which is what I consider making it interesting, right? So Austin Matthews, our superstar, won the Hart Trophy last year, tipped in a shot from the point, made it 4-2. About a minute later, that same Austin Matthews tipped in another shot and made it 4-3. So obviously it's a live game at that point. Anything can happen. With a minute left in regulation, the Leafs tied it up at 4-4. So, I mean, that's a miracle in itself to come back. Wonderful. You're thinking maybe they'll take the foot off the pedal for overtime. Maybe they'll let their guard down, but no. The Leafs kept the attack on, and they wrapped it up about 5 minutes in. A guy named Alexander Kerfoot, much maligned. If you look at the media throughout Toronto, throughout the season, he's a guy that it's give or take whether he even plays on a nightly basis. He's one of the guys that takes the most verbal abuse, and we wonder if he's going to stay in the lineup. But they call him a Swiss Army knife because he can do a little bit of everything. And tonight he tipped in the game winner, man. He tipped in the game winner in OT, and now we're coming back to Toronto with a 3-1 stranglehold.
Was there a fight tonight, though? Was there a fight during the game?
There were no fights tonight. I think no team wanted to take a penalty.
Sounds like you like fights.
Punched in the face.
They don't. I don't think
They fight
much
less
in the
during
playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah,
They do. Last game there was 3 fights.
Yeah.
This series has been crazy. It's been crazy. They hate each other.
Would you rather go to an NHL playoff game?
Oh, sorry.
NFL or NBA?
NBA.
Me personally, I prefer watching the games in the comfortable confines of my own establishment. But if I had to pick one, I don't think I could pick against hockey. It's like it's the most nonstop action, if you ask me. End-to-end nonstop action.
Interesting.
It's easier to watch with someone talking over to tell you what's happening because someone like me does not know what's going on.
I watched that in the last show. She's like, when you go to the game.
I'm going to an NBA game all day.
I've never been to
NBA game all day for me.
I
live in Canada.
I can understand that.
Game yet, but
I take radios with me now if I go to a game and I just listen to what's going on while I'm watching the game.
I've asked myself many times, like personally, who do I love more? Like, who would I give up my firstborn for more? Is it the Leafs or is it the Lakers? And there's been a few times in the last year or so where both of them were playing on the same night in a playoff game. And honestly, man, like I feel my heart ripping in half inside of my chest. Who do I watch? But
or you just
hockey,
get 2
man.
TVs,
Like,
man.
if you turn away from a
Get 2
hockey
TVs.
game for 3 minutes, you might miss 5 goals. You never know what could happen. So much could happen in a minute in hockey. So
but if you don't watch 3 minutes of basketball, you can miss a 20-point lead.
You could miss a 360 dunk. I know. It's so hard to choose, man. Don't make me choose right now.
So
Just get 2 TVs, man. Just 2 TVs right there, like 2 different monitors.
I think basketball is more of a finesse sport, you know. So
Yeah, I'm basketball as well.
You know, like finesse style, you know, into Steph Curry breaking guys down, hitting ridiculous shots, or, you know, someone coming down and, you know, head tapping somebody with, you know, in the back, you know, just coming down the middle, dunking on somebody and just ending their life.
DeJounte Murray suspended for 5 games for making inappropriate contact and verbally abusing a ref. Thoughts?
Wow, DeJounte. I thought he was soft.
Stupid move.
I think one
Did
ref
you guys
just needs
see the
to get
play?
beat up once in a while, you know?
I didn't see the play.
I didn't see the play, but just hear about it. being an ex-basketball player and an official myself, and knowing the circumstances of what teams are going through, that's an immature, man. That's immature. Like, you know, a veteran player
On
would,
DeJounte's part?
yeah, we should chew them apart, man. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're in a position where you should be better than the calls if you don't like the calls. You know what I'm saying?
Especially at that caliber.
You're at that
But honestly,
can
I
play
think
above the calls.
one
like,
rep should
contact.
I said one rep should at least get punched out once a year, because then the refs all over the, like, for every single sport know not to do something stupid, because then they'll get it, you know.
Daniel, real quick, I want to stay with you because they're, you know, Bob Foster and the NBA. What do you think about referees like that? And then, do you have any experiences where you were like, either because you've played, you can understand where the player's frustration came from,
Yeah.
or on the flip side, because now you're seeing it from the other side, you're like, yo, I'm a ref and I'm seeing something y'all not you guys aren't seeing.
So it's interesting because, yeah, that's definitely, because as a player, you're like, yo, I'll never become a ref. That's like the dark side, right? But my father was a ref, right? So I got into it after I stopped playing, and it's interesting because you see the game in a different light. You know, Bob Foster, like, you know, Foster, I think he's an amazing official, personally. You have to have thick skin. You deal with different things and different situations. If you understand the game, just what players put into the game and the emotion that comes with it, you know, and
kind of give them a blind. You give them a. Sometimes you give them a little leeway because you've been there.
It's definitely the difference between a so-so ref and a good official. Just communication, because players, coaches, you know, if you're able to communicate with them, even you're human, you're gonna make mistakes, right? So say there's a play and you kick the play, you know, if you could tell the player, yeah, like, I probably kicked that play, you know what I'm saying, I wish I could have it back.
They'll respect you even more.
And they'll understand, right? You move on to the play, right? But if you're wrong and strong, you know, that's when you create friction, right?
And
Like
just
my mom right now.
And real quick, Daniel, and I don't mean to put Mike on this.
No, it's all good.
What's the biggest game your dad ref? Like the highest level, biggest game your dad ref? And I'm telling you, he's good. Like, it's not like some.
If you're from Toronto and you play basketball, you've seen his dad at least ref one game.
100%.
Right? Like, he's done university national championships, right? But like, there's also like there's prep basketball where he's actually gone to the States and he's refed high division 1 college teams playing against Canadian teams, right? So like it depends on what you define as high, you know, his best game. But personally, I would say if you're looking at it that way, I would say his university national championship game, right?
Incredible.
Being a ref, have you ever been like threatened or anything like that?
Yeah, has your dad ever been beat by a player?
All the time.
Whoa.
So see, it sets an example. Like, for all the reps across the country, one rep just.
And yeah, there's times where, you know, like, obviously you stand up for yourself, right? But within confines where you don't let it go so far, right? Like you don't. People have to respect you as much as you respect them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fine line. So
I'm sorry, I have one question because now I'm like, do you have it in for a player? Like, do you know? Like, I'm gonna give you.
I never go.
You don't feel that? Wow, you don't take it personally.
I swear, bro, because at the end of the day, I used to play, so I know what you go through. Like, when you're practicing, you play, like you grow up, you learn to practice 2-3 times harder than you play so that the game's easy.
Yes.
Right? So now, like, I know with that, I know how I was to refs when I used to shit. I was an athlete. Like, I know.
I played with you. Yes.
Look at our coaches, Sid.
Right.
That's like
baseline. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we grew up, like, you know, like, we never get into reffing. So like, I understand how it is. So when I got into reffing and teams used to heckle me, parents and players, you know, like you learn how to adjust to different situations and talk to people, figure out what the issue is, or people, most of the time, if you're cool and people learn that you're cool over time from reffing their games repeatedly, they'll come and talk to you, right? Instead of blowing up in your face.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
It's funny. My dad referees a lot of soccer, like pickup games and West Indian League soccer during the summer. And one day he came home and he told me how the guy who picks the guys who referees the game, gave him a call and said, my dad's name is Malcolm. He said, Malcolm, I got a game for you, West End, Toronto. And I'm like, Dad, like, why do they keep calling you to go to this certain park in the West End? And it turned out like on a weekly basis, my dad was refereeing games between a Jamaican team and a Trinidadian team. And he's telling me how these guys used to come up to him. My dad's a real passive guy, but there was always like a few of the dreads that would come up to him and they're like, referee, come on, man. You know what I mean? They're trying
Well,
to
I'm only
Always.
laughing. I'm only laughing because you said West Indies and soccer.
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine those games. Like most people at like other games, if you're not West Indian, are just probably having Coke or Powerade. But at a West Indies game, Caribbean game,
Right.
them men must be drinking something else. You
Not
know?
the
Red-
games you want to referee,
Red
man.
stripe
Those
and
that's not a game
Rum.
I want to referee. You don't know who's gonna get aggressive.
This is getting me set up now for the Avery segment. So Avery, you want to give us a little update real quick? A little Avery freeze every 5-second update. I don't know what we're calling it.
Basically, I think that if we just give somewhat of a top three, at least a top three list of some sort of different genre of basketball of your list. So when I came up this week, it's my top three list of players who basically were either hindered by injuries or should have been there but didn't make it. These are the top three players. Number one, I got my boy T-Mac. Coming up with a big old dunk on Sean Bradley. Just molesting this guy. Like, was Sean Bradley 7'4"? Not a chance. Just got immediately. Like, not even. Give it back. One more time. Sean Bradley. It's gone. I think if Tracy McGrady in today's NBA would be like a mix of KD and maybe like LeBron with his passing abilities, but they did a list recently. I don't know if any of you guys seen it. They did a list recently of a poll in the NBA who everyone had as the greatest player of all time. They had, I think it was like 30% voted or 40% voted Jordan, 20-something% voted LeBron, then 5% had Bill Russell, and 1% had my boy Tracy McGrady. So I'm not the only one that has this thought that he would have been one of the greats if he still did go through the injuries that he did. This is Grant Hill. Grant Hill, I got number 2 in his Piston days, rocking the teal blue Piston jerseys. Scottie Pippen, one of the great defenders of all time, just crossed immediately there. And then I don't know who he dunked on. I think that was another one. I think he would be basically the same. Agent Zero. I think he was the trendsetter of what we see today with Curry and Damian Lillard and James Harden doing these ridiculous threes. Gilbert Arenas was doing that before any of those guys.
This is when he does the
06.
turnaround.
Hands
Up.
If he didn't go through,
I was telling you guys about Gilbert
Good time.
Arenas. Like,
Gilbert, man, he had some
Gil's
epic battles.
my third.
That was really good.
great segment, actually.
I like that.
What happened
Kind
to
of look
Gilbert?
like South Park.
Somebody's
Okay,
frozen over here.
Who do
We
you
never
guys
talked
have
about
for
you.
your top threes who did make it? Basically, but basically, it's the top 3 players who like were hindered by injuries, or like we got like guys like Greg Oden, guys like.
While we're waiting
Jordan be
for
struggling.
Jordan, who's got a favorite cartoon player that if they were to play NBA would win?
Don't say Bugs Bunny. No one say
Favorite
Bugs Bunny.
cartoon player?
Yeah. If we were to make a team, who'd be your pick?
I give Lola Bunny just because Lola Bunny's 1,000 in everyone that I see her.
Tigger. I would pick Tigger.
That's my pick.
Tigger.
Or Robin
How is
Williams.
being Tigger a benefit now? How does being Tigger help in basketball?
He can jump.
He's his tail. He just bounces up and down. Just dunks
Yeah.
it.
Jumps.
Yeah.
Tail curls so he can just
I feel like you took that somewhere else.
Okay, so I have a question for Daniel. Are there any, or for everybody on the panel, are there any specific refs that you like to see in the playoffs? Like, do you have a favorite ref?
More
I
Indians.
a favorite
More
ref.
Indians.
I don't
Actually, no.
have.
I got one. Leon Woods. He played for like 2 years in the NBA. He's the only ref in the NBA that I know played in the NBA. So I'm going Leon Woods.
I think there needs to be more Indians as referees because we're loud and we can like reach really far and get angry very quick too. So we're very passionate no matter where we are.
It's just I can't do the running. I can't do the running. I don't know how you guys do that.
Honestly, it's not that bad. I think basketball's worse. The
Wait,
referees
do referees have to run?
run certain distances, right? And that's it. Like it's not too
Why?
Yeah.
They have a
You
whistle.
run
You have
half
to be
court
able to
because you
play.
got to stay with the team.
breaking the court up into sections when you're
Well,
running.
hold on. Can't you just blow the whistle really loud and then like be a conductor?
It's important when you're reffing to stay with the play. So depending on the section that the area you're officiating, you have to stay with the player, or say you're in the lead position, you have to make it down the court before the trail or the center position.
Okay, so you definitely don't have asthma.
No, not
That's
anymore.
probably a requirement.
Yes.
Actually, asthma never goes away. Fact about that.
Really?
I don't know why I feel like an encyclopedia again, but asthma never goes away. You should actually find out if you still have asthma because long-term damage can happen from it. I'm a survivor of it, so.
Oh wow, good to know.
Yeah, I still only have 40% capacity.
Look, I just learned something new. Like easy.
I'm a survivor.
I know. I'm going Wednesday to the hospital to get like 7 tests done to find out why I'm stuck at 40% capacity. That's why I can't play sports. Well, I'll play sports. Well, I can bike, but I can't play sports.
Jordan,
are you in a blazer?
Good.
Hey, I gotta throw something on. You know?
Are you in a blazer?
You just changed.
What is that?
I love how that's what you noticed. Are you in a blazer?
I'm wearing a suit next.
Okay, Drew. Two questions, Drew. One, where is your predictions on where the Leafs go in the playoffs here? Do they even make it out of the first round, or if they do, where do they finish? And also, two, I had this argument with my buddies the other day that are basically all my buddies. I'm in fucking Northern Ontario, so all my friends are big hockey fans. I'm the only one that is a huge basketball fan, to be honest. I was talking to my buddies the other day about how standings work in hockey, and it's always bugged me out to see fucking ties in hockey and like how they score overtimes and shit. Yeah. OTL, so overtime to me, I think it should be a win or a loss, regardless if you make it to OT. You don't deserve a point for making it to OT. You lost.
That's why their
season's
so long.
Like, yeah, that's ridiculous to me. So, what's your opinion on that? Like, I know you're a big hockey guy, so what's your opinion on the ties, basically?
Like, this is the thing with the ties, right? What was basically happening is, towards the end of a lot of games before we had the shootout, the games would go to a 5-minute overtime. And then if no one scored, it would just be over. And each team would get a point, right? So you found a lot of teams towards the end of regulation, when there's like a minute or two left, they weren't really trying to win the games. They just were letting the clock run out to assure themselves that they get the 1 point. So in order to force teams to kind of play to the end of their game, they added an extra point to teams who win in overtime. So you kind of have teams that are fighting a little bit more to the end of the game, and then they give an extra point if you win in overtime, just to make sure that there's something to play for. Because if each team gets a point when it gets to the end of overtime, sometimes you got teams that are playing not to get injured. The games are not so exciting. So giving that extra point to a team that wins in OT was just to kind of liven up the games a little bit. As far as how far do I think the Leafs are going to go, man, I got to be honest with you, right? Like, if we beat Tampa, our reward for that is going to be Boston. Boston just had the best season any regular season team has had in like 100 years, bro. So chances are we're going to lose to Boston in the next round. So the one sport where miracles can happen more than any other sport. If you outwork the team you're playing against, you can beat a team that's more talented, right? The Leafs have a lot of talent, almost just as much as Boston. They're probably the only team legitimately that I could see beating Boston in a series, unless Connor McDavid was to go off and just play out of his mind. So part of me is saying the Leafs have a chance here, man. I think they could do it.
We'll win the Stanley Cup.
If the Leafs get past Boston, they're winning the cup.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
If Tank can do it, we can do it.
growing up,
Yeah, man. We're in the hardest division.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Brian, can you break down the NFL draft and how that works and how it's spread out over 3 days? Is it 3 days or 4 days? And there's like
Yeah.
6.
Break it down.
So first round, Thursday night, best round there is. It's just the first round. Each team has 15 minutes to make a pick. I think they bumped it down to 10 minutes because it was taking that long. But Thursday's just the first round. Friday is rounds 2 and 3. And then Saturday is rounds 4 through 7. And rounds 4 through 7, I think they have 5 minutes to make a pick. And that's just rapid fire at that point. So there is no better thrill than Thursday night, round 1, when your team is finally up on the clock and all of a sudden the pick has been traded. And a team has thrown all their assets to move up to take this player. You hope that your team got everything they needed to build for the years to come. It is a thrilling night of just hope for the NFL and those teams that have just been perennial sewer dwellers. So as a Browns fan, I love the draft. You know, we're always at the bottom. We don't have a pick this year, thank God, because we're actually decent finally. So I'll get to sit back and just enjoy the draft and hope for as much chaos as possible. But yeah, it's one of those things that is really peak NFL fandom right here. So the draft, I need to mention it as well, is in the Super Bowl winning city of Kansas City, Missouri. It rotates each year. It just started rotating back in 2015 from being in New York City every year, and Cleveland actually hosted it last year. So I'm thrilled for it. Jordan, I hope that was a good breakdown for you. I kind of rambled a little bit, but
Ryan, I got a question, Ryan, man. I'm rocking my Ravens jersey tonight. I don't like how they're treating my boy Lamar, man. What's happening with Lamar?
That's what I'm hoping for as well. Thursday night, I want to see Lamar Jackson dealt from the Ravens. I want him out of the division. I want him going to a team that actually wants to put some talent around him, the MVP caliber that he is.
Right.
I want him out. I'm tired of playing against him. Anytime he's healthy, they kick our ass.
What-
So I'm
what-
sorry. I'm sorry. I hope you're just a Lamar Jackson fan and not a Ravens fan, because I'm hoping for chaos Thursday.
Why does the draft take so long? Jamal was asking.
The draft takes so long because, and you think that all the time, especially when you have the number 1 pick, like you've had months to make this selection, but you're waiting for other teams to come in and see if they're willing to literally sell their soul for that pick to move up. What maybe one team doesn't take the guy that you thought they were going to take. Well, this is your chance to jump in front of the Baltimore Ravens and take a Lamar Jackson type of character. Someone that's going to change
because
the
I can't take him seriously because he's like doing stuff and I don't. It's like green. It's like a
He's
pizza roll.
rolling it up. I thought that was LeBron's royal scepter that Brooks knocked
It's
off.
a roller, okay?
He's like ass in my pants.
No idea what
Hands
you're
in my pants.
talking about. But then
I played
like-
ball yesterday, okay? My back's fucked up.
that's so funny.
back spasms on
Oh,
the
he had
show.
ass in his pants or something.
Last question.
Yeah,
Regarding the
pants my
draft.
mother bought me, okay? They're lost.
Does the team or the city that's holding the draft, do they get incentives like that franchise?
It's just a way to host everybody in the NFL to your city. So you really want to throw a good little draft for everyone now. I do want to mention one guy in particular. He's a draft analyst named Mel Kiper. This man is crazy. He's been running the draft since 1984. He's been ESPN's draft analyst. He eats pumpkin pie for breakfast. He orders pizza. Strap in for this. He orders pizza, takes off the cheese, replaces it with mashed potatoes. This man is a complete psychopath. And he hosts the draft for hours. So Mel Kiper Jr., if you get a chance, look up his diet after this.
What's the most outlandish thing you ever put on a pizza?
Some people say pineapple, but I actually like pineapple on a
You know,
pizza.
Chantal likes anchovies.
The man.
I don't do anchovies. Pineapple, I do for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to know the greatest
Outrageous.
pizza hack. You want to
What
know the
annoys
greatest
me is
pizza
when I
hack?
see people order pizza and put tomatoes on it. That's the one
No,
I
hold
never
I put
understand.
hold
Reese's
on.
on a pizza one time.
The
Okay, I
easiest
do that
hack.
sometimes.
Hold on. The easiest hack for pizzas is to order a bruschetta pizza because you get tomatoes, onions, and garlic.
You get the
It's
whole
like 3 toppings in one,
and get
and you're paying one price.
you know.
Yeah.
I like that New York pepperoni slice out here. That's my go-to.
Yeah, they call
Hey.
it out here. I looked up Mel Kiper Jr. He does look a little bit of like a character. You know, that's
Character.
fun.
We
Russian.
need to get Pizza to sponsor us next.
We already have. You know, speaking of that, let's go to our sponsors.
We got Primos.
Daniel, wanted to come back to you, sir. Dylan Brooks, he said that, you know, people are making him the villain and the media is making him the villain. So people think that if he hits LeBron in the nuts, it's intentional. This is going on in the league. I know we already talked about Dylan Brooks, but what's your overall thoughts of what's going on in the NBA right now? And do you have like a specific winner coming out on top over everybody else?
A specific winner out of everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, that's kind of tough with all the injuries right now. That kind of changed, you know. So honestly, man,
we ask the tough questions here on Below the Rim, man. Only the tough questions.
I kind of like Denver.
Wow.
I kind of
You
like
want Denver to win it all.
No,
you know what it
win
is?
it all.
He didn't say he wanted them to. He said
they've been a top team for the majority of the year, and not a lot of people are talking about them. It's kind of like they're kind of getting treated like the Raptors, man. You know, they're kind of getting treated like the Raptors, where they're getting swept.
The Raptors were treated like the Raptors for a reason, though. So are Denver.
But
Raptors were treated like that for years because they didn't do in the playoffs.
They're not getting shown any respect. I think Jamal Murray is just Jamal Murray, right? Is it Murray?
Yeah. Canadian boy.
He's taking it personal. I know, you know, he wants to show out because the last time he was in the playoffs was the bubble, and he showed out in the bubble.
Yeah.
Right? He was arguably probably the best player in the bubble, right? So, and then you got
he showed up last night.
First got fired. Ime Udoka gets hired by the
What's the bubble?
Houston, right?
Yeah.
The COVID bubble.
Raptors. How do you guys feel about Nick?
That's a good hire, Jordan.
What's the bubble?
The COVID bubble.
The COVID
bubble. Yeah, it was a dark time in NBA history.
And then we got what?
Lakers won it all, though.
Yeah.
I feel like you're right. I feel like Denver is overrated. Underrated. And I think because Jokic, he is a unpopular game, and Jamal Murray's like a low key guy, but he's a superstar, and it's in Denver. So you know what I mean? It's just the draw is more intriguing when you hear KD or Dev Booker or LeBron, obviously. So that's that part. In terms of the Ime Udoka signing with Houston, I think the consensus is the same. I think it's a good signing.
I think Houston are
being let go by the Raptors. I think Nick was okay either way. I think if he stayed, he would have been fine. I think if he left, he would have been fine too. Because they won a championship. Where else is it going to go?
I think he was on his way out, man. I think so. I think his body language and his emotions toward the team changed. I think like the last quarter of the season, man. I don't think he
wasn't paid enough.
I have never been a Nick Nurse fan.
They needed a new voice in there. Yeah. You brought you a championship. You didn't like it, Avery.
Man, I have never. Nick Nurse might be the only coach in the NBA that I've seen get away with the shit that he does. I've seen this guy literally, I'll find the clip and send it to you guys, stomp at refs, screaming like a child, and get no text. I've seen this guy somehow get no text. Like, well, I remember Jeff Van Gundy back in the day when he grabbed the chair and threw it at them. I've seen him do shit like that and somehow get no text. So I don't understand how Nick Nurse, if he's paying these refs, if he's fucking doing some sucky on the backstage, I don't know what it is, but he gets away with so much.
I have a question for you guys. In the boys' locker room after the game is done, are the boys like all about teamwork, or is it just like who fucked up and what happened? Are you guys at each other's throats? Because I know that like in the women's locker room it can be very bitchy.
It's just
I think
fights.
Like there's a certain amount of accountability for everybody, right? When you're professional, but you know the main purpose is win. So when you're going over a game tape, like you're gonna be looking at different personnel like on the team, like what they did in the moment and how they can rectify that situation, you know? So I think it's on everybody, and it's not just on one person. I think everybody, if you're on a good team, everybody's gonna understand that, and they'll move on from that issue very quickly. You know.
I've been on teams where it's like it's been very argumentative, where it's like, we lost a game or at halftime and we're arguing with each other. Then I've been on teams where it's like we're all just so focused, and leaders, specific leaders, like take charge, and that's what they do. They inspire the team and motivate them in those situations. So I know
Were you that guy?
he was I'm not even bullshitting. Like, Daniel was one of those point guards. He played for BJC as well, and he was like one of those leaders that you couldn't shake. Like the crowds would be going crazy, and he'd go to the free throw line and just knock them down. No issues. So
Yeah, that's true.
Long time ago, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
but
There's a steal.
as well, man.
That's it, right? That clutch gene. You either have it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Right. Does anyone else wanna get Daniel to do an impersonation, or is that just me? Or
Yeah, Daniel, I want you to impersonate a rooster in a rooster fight.
wow! Hey, there we go.
Hold on. I gotta set you up. Here we go.
Can we get Can we play the new song and just get a little dance segment real quick?
Here we go. All right, here we go.
Everyone, we're gonna have a little dance, like little.
That's the new one, huh? I'm feeling this.
Right? There we go. Beautiful. I don't know. Where did Avery go, man? Every time Avery is just like,
There he is.
Smart man.
Okay, Jamal, Avery, you missed it. Jamal, run it again. Avery, you got to get your own solo dance number right now. Here we go.
What?
Loosen up that back. That's incredible.
He's freezing in the moment. So I just want to do a little, I guess, interpod appreciation. So I watched it a few times, the pod. I just want to point out, like, Ryan, you had me dying when you were like, I was in the back of an Uber, like, so
with the Izzy knockout.
Yeah, the Izzy knockout. Drew, there was a small moment when you came back on the pod and you were rolling up your thing, and everyone was talking about Juwan, man, and you did a quick like like.
I think I remember that moment.
You just
does
did
that a lot.
quick, like you didn't even have to know the whole thing. You just heard it, and so I thought it was funny. And Jack, like, again, like, nothing but energy. Your final thoughts with the music playing in the back it was like, okay, so yeah, I liked it. It was good. And then Avery, I don't know what Avery's doing.
He just lives in the moment.
That's crazy.
At least I froze at the end, okay?
Wait, do you guys all know how to ride a bike here?
How to ride a bike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty regular thing, right?
I mean, I don't
Not
think.
really. Some people don't know how to ride a bike.
I can ride a bike.
Okay, so let's play a game.
Can you ride a bike, Jess?
Never have I
I have
ever.
one right here.
Yeah.
Never have
That could be to throw everybody off.
All right,
Never
Jamal.
know.
Never have I ever, Jamal.
Okay, so never have I ever rode a bike. So if you rode a bike, you gotta put your finger down.
If I
Put
roll
your
a
finger
bike,
down.
I put it at 5, or I put one away.
We're starting with 5, and if you've done it, you gotta put a finger down.
Okay.
Okay, so never have I ever rode a bike.
I'm done. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Never have I ever rollerbladed. Never have I ever been on a vert ramp.
A what?
Huh?
Like a
vert
vert ramp, like skateboarding,
Oh,
X Games.
Nah,
Yeah, that's me.
drop it on my face.
Never have I ever repped a game.
Never
I
ref.
have reffed the game.
I've never reffed.
I reffed the game at Hoop Dome.
Me too. Ready?
You
And
guys
never
have
have
straight
I ever
fingers.
been on Below the Rim podcast.
Hey, there it is.
You
Everybody,
guys
final thoughts, Jazz. Final thoughts. Here we go.
Say
You guys
weird
have
thing.
straight fingers. I have really crooked fingers. It's not why I'm a hand model. I'm not allowed to be a hand model. Do you see how crooked that is?
Models.
Just be
Yeah, final
struggling.
thoughts. Here we go.
Oh, I have crooked fingers. This is what I was saying. And that's my fight. That's my trophy.
Can you give us a final thought, 60 seconds of the bike and some of the features?
That's some of the
Oh.
features.
It's a Bianchi bike made in California, fully carbon loaded, $6,000. Got it 50% off. Picked it up for $2,500. You can resell it at $5,000 still. I ride 100K on the weekends in the summer, and it's fun.
There's way more
Only thing I
information
can
than
do.
I thought.
You should be a car salesman.
Yeah, no shit.
Bianchi.
You talking carbon fiber fully loaded.
Yeah.
Adamantium.
Oh, and it's not the
Spokes.
brakes are special too.
Got the
the
card
brakes
on the
are special.
spokes.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I guess so. My final thoughts. We could all open this up. Someone said 3-on-5 this past podcast. What is that all about? The amount of disrespect towards me and my podcast. That is just egregious. I mean,
Franklin said that. Franklin.
Egregious.
you could add it's Jordan, Jamal, and Franklin versus what was it? Me, Avery, Andrew, Big Mike, and do we get Khalil? Can we get Khalil in there? 'Cause
Oh,
I
no,
know it's
come
crazy if
on.
we get
Let's
Khalil, but we don't even need
Come
Khalil. You know, let's talk Khalil out. I don't know how much time I have left, but I would like to reiterate the absolute disrespect that has been thrust our way. We need to get some content created. Maybe a 3-point shootout or something. Everybody go to the gym, put up some shots. I need to get something. I can't my reputation.
I love it.
Oh,
True.
shit.
Final thoughts.
You know what, man? I'm just gonna have to say something about Kawhi Leonard. How
Go
disappointing
Leafs!
he has been to me lately. Because when I see him play, like I see shades of Jordan, but like a more muscular, physical style. And the fact that this man is trying to convince us that he cannot play in these huge monumental games is just really disappointing. So I feel like he probably left his heart in Toronto. He probably should have stayed here. He basically made Dwayne Casey look like a fool because as soon as he got fired for winning Coach of the Year, Nick Nurse comes in, wins the title with Kawhi, and now we all know Nick Nurse had really not much to do with that shit. With Kawhi Leonard, and now that he won a ring in Toronto, it's like he just kind of sold himself out to pasture. So I'm big disappointed in him, and he probably should have gave his sister some money so she wouldn't have to be out here robbing old ladies. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
I seen that mugshot.
Avery, final thoughts, 60 seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna double down on what Ryan said. Fuck that noise. We would
Yes.
bust your asses in
Yeah.
a 5-on-3. That's absolutely disrespectful. Like Ryan said, outrageous is the proper word for it.
Egregious.
I think that even with Jazz, we would still bust your asses. So I'm confident in any sort of 5-on-3, whatever the fuck you guys want to do. I'm confident with that game. Also,
You do know I have asthma, right?
well, I'm cool with it. We'll take asthma-ridden Jazz, okay? She can bring her home/car, and we'll school the shit out of you guys, okay?
Wow.
I'm completely confident in that game. Completely.
I'll bring a cricket back.
There you go. There you go. And then with what Drew said, I completely agree. Kawhi Leonard should have gave his. By the way, one of the roughest looking humans, Kawhi's sister.
Right.
So why she look like she's been homeless for years? like she literally looks like female Kawhi Leonard. That homeless female Kawhi Leonard.
Wow.
It's real rough. I don't know.
Everyone
what's going
knows
on there.
Avery could do that. Everyone looks forward to what Avery's gonna say.
It's real rough, man. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. Jordan, you're up, man.
You went in. All right. So Jordan, 60 seconds. Okay. I think it's so crazy, man. I'm Aaron Rodgers finally signed with the New York Jets. I'm excited. I'm excited because he's doing something for the city. It's gonna make a lot of business opportunities for a lot of like real estate agents and just business, because that's going to be a place that people can go and you can bring your clients, potential clients, and now that we have like a big name draw like an Aaron Rodgers, it's like, and he's kind of finishing off his career here in New York. It's kind of cool. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the Lakers game. Who won the Lakers game right now? What's the score with the Lakers game? Did they win? They played tonight. No? Can someone? Lakers?
So wrapped up in the Leafs, man. I lost track of that.
Hold on.
One sec.
Okay.
They're up 2 at half. They're up 2 at half.
But yeah, that's my final thoughts. And I wrote something a little spiffy today, and I hope I look all right. Okay, perfect.
Sharp.
My final thoughts. All right. So my final thoughts, I would say, Going back to NBA basketball, I would say Nuggets Lakers finals NBA West.
Wow.
That's my prediction. My stance right now. I think that Lakers team is pretty damn good since they made those trades, man. And I think Denver is seriously underestimated, and it'll make for an interesting match to see who would go on to the finals.
Who's the East?
The East, I'm not so sure. It's a lot of injuries. I'm not too sure what's going on with Milwaukee. So in the East is going to be interesting, but yeah, definitely West. I think Denver and Lakers.
And Jazz is saying you need to finish with the Rooster Dance. No, she said nope.
You only get it once, man.
You only get it once.
You don't do it for free, baby. You learned that a long time ago.
There we go. All right. Jamal, there Jazz is doing it. She's doing an honorary chicken dance, rooster dance. Jamal, you want to fight this with 60 seconds, sir?
Most definitely. It has come to my attention that a challenge is upon us. Every now and then we go through. But if we do a basketball game 5-on-3, like, let's be realistic. Let's be honest. Come on, guys. Like, let's be real. We can do a shootout. We can play pool. We can play badminton, tennis. We can do a top 10 best out of 5 40-meter dash, thumb war, rock paper scissors. I'm not losing.
I love it.
Oh, thank you guys for having me, for sure.
Jordan, you froze now?
Hey.
Oh, now you froze. Or you did.
He's a clone.
No, I'm here.
Oh. Okay, you're not here.
Everything. Unless someone else has something to say, I mean,
Just where do you think you're going, boy? California.
good. All right, everybody, can we just strap in real quick? Just put your seatbelts on. We're gonna seatbelts on, and we're gonna flush it. Here we go. No, nothing. No.
we heard some of it.
Flush that shit.